So now that we've had a clean break, the first thing we do is we take the highest point in the previous curve, and that is written here. That's over here. And hence we draw our stop. Remember, the horizontal stop is maintained until we get permission to draw. And I'm going to move along pretty swiftly now. I think we've covered most of the points, and the reason being is because I want to find another situation where we have that redrawing of the trend line as in rule 682, which is pivoting around point 1 as against moving point 1. So the first thing we do, we have a break to the upside. Remember, one close above the horizontal stop is sufficient for a reversal, and then at that point we take the lowest point of this trend line which was drawn. Just change that back to this one, and that's this point here. So there's our new point 1 point, and I will draw that up real quick. Okay, so I've drawn point 1, and we make that a horizontal stop. We take our measuring tool, and looks like just shortly after the break we already get permission to draw. So let me draw that line in now. We take the outermost point, so there's the point 1 starting, and it looks like the outermost point is somewhere around there. I'm just going to extend it, and perfect, we have a nice example of a redraw. So I'm going to move along. So that's our trend line, and price action moves. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So there's our trend line. Okay, so price action, we have a first close below. This is now a trend line break, but it's not clean, it's not a defined break. So we are looking at 6A2. The first thing we notice is that get my markers, that is below, and therefore but the next one is above, so that does not qualify. Even though they're both below the trend line, the second bar is above. So we, at the closing of the second bar, we draw like that. Okay, then that bar is now below, and the same applies, so that gets permission to redraw. The next time we have a close is perhaps, even if we were to assume that this was a close below, okay, that bar are the same, but that bar is above, so that does not qualify, so we move that to like there. Then finally we have a close below and the one lower subsequently, so that is where we finally get our clean break in terms of rule 7 to the bearish side, and it looks like we'll get stopped out pretty quickly. So there's our rule 7 break. First thing we do is take the highest point in that most recent trend line, which looks like it's over here. There, that becomes point 1 stop, horizontal stop. And we get stopped out real quick right there. To resume back onto reversal, and then now this becomes point 1. And let me put that in real quick. That's the lowest point. And we wait for permission to get drawn. So we resume that. Here's your point 1. Now, when you have stuff like this, you take the most. When you have multiple, just the lowest close, and if there's two closes that are on the same level, use the one that is furthest away. sorry, the furthest along. Otherwise, you won't be able to draw a horizontal, a sloping line. So we move along, and that's where we get stopped out again. So we change this line to red, move our stop over here. That's the highest point in that section. Draw it. Then move our marker, and it clearly at this point at the end here is where we get permission to redraw, or permission to draw, not sorry. And then you take point 1, outermost point 2, and we continue. Okay, let's see how this plays out, and then we'll stop. I'm going to pause the video now